whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Can't twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak just my mind. Oh. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're chilling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, 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 oh,
to begin to make their way closer to integrity, to begin the erection of a large inflatable life raft called a front porch that will be buttressed up alongside the hatchway to the spacecraft. That life raft will be used to bring the crew members out of this vehicle once the hatch is open. To begin to make one by one, they'll get their land legs back after 9 days of weightlessness before they are put in harnesses to be hoisted one by one in sequential fashion and in alternating fashion to the two hovering Navy helicopters overhead out of this vehicle once the hatch is open. members and subsequent leak checks, a final leak check for all 4 crew members. Everything is actually running a few minutes ahead of schedule. So once the life raft is inflated next to the Integrity spacecraft and the recovery teams have arrived alongside of the vehicle, the hatch will be open and the crew members will be brought outside into that front porch, as it is called, one by one. They then will be hoisted into the hovering helos overhead. And those helos then will turn around once the 4 crew members are on board, 2 for each helicopter, and will head back to the ship. That should be about a 10 to 15-minute transit. Once the helicopters land on the deck of the USS John Murtha, the crew members will be exiting those helicopters and brought into medical bay on the deck on the ship itself for comprehensive medical exams. They will spend a period of time yet to be determined on board the USS John Murtha before they are flown by helicopter to the shore in San Diego, to the San Diego Naval Air Station, and ultimately will board a NASA jet for the flight back to the Johnson Space Center here in Houston. Just to recap some of the key times that are coming up, we are expecting the separation of the crew module from the service module just 43 minutes from now. That is expected to occur at 6:33 p.m. Central Time, 7:33 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be followed just 4 minutes later by the crew module raise burn, the use of Integrity's thrusters one final time in a 19-second burn to slightly tilt the vehicle up into the correct orientation or angle of attack to ensure that it enters the Earth's atmosphere at the right angle, if you will. That will help deflect the buildup of heat against Integrity's heat shield. This was a deliberate move, a change in the procedures from the Artemis I mission that resulted in unexpected char loss on the Avcoat heat shield that had not been intended based on the entry trajectory for the Artemis I mission. What we're doing is we deliberately changed the trajectory of the entry from a skip entry that was about a 3,000-mile transit across the Pacific Ocean. We are expecting now from entry interface to the point of splashdown to have a range of just 1,701 nautical miles, and that in of itself will reduce the exposure time of heating on the heat shield of the spacecraft. Once the raise burn is complete, then the stage is set for entry interface at 6:53 and 31 seconds p.m. Central Time. That means that Integrity will be entering the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling at about 34,882 feet per second, heading for its splashdown site off the coast of San Diego, as you just heard from Megan Cruz on the deck of the USS John Murtha. Splashdown once again under those 3 main parachutes is expected at 7:07 and 8 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time, 2.5 hours before sunset. The actual total distance traveled for Integrity from launch to splashdown is estimated at 694,481 statute miles. Now that includes the first high elliptical Earth orbit following launch that enabled Integrity to move to 43,000 miles above the Earth at its apogee and enabling a 24-hour period of systems checkouts before the flight control team here and the mission management team gave approval for Integrity to conduct its translunar injection that propelled it on its way to the moon and its historic lunar flyby. So the total distance we expect this vehicle to have traveled at splashdown, 694,481 statute miles. With everything proceeding on track and on time aboard Integrity, the vehicle system's in excellent shape as the Earth grows larger in the field of view. Let's go back to the USS John Murtha and Megan Cruz, who is standing by.
Hey, yeah, Rob, welcome back. Again, we are out in the Pacific Ocean, staged just about 6.5 miles from where we expect Orion to splash down now in just over an hour. How exciting, and the weather. Awesome conditions here. I know you see some wind blowing around my hair, but really nothing to speak of when it comes to having to recover our astronauts, as well as no waves here, really. So yeah, we're expecting a really great day. Also, hopefully, some really great views. You can see behind me that some of the clouds are starting to break up, so that's really exciting. And now, of course, this ship has a lot of people ready and excited to welcome our crew back home, including Dr. Rick Schuring here. He is a NASA flight surgeon. Great to have you here, Rick.
You too, Megan. It is a blessing to be out here this day with our teams. We've trained 3 years for this nonstop with the U.S. Navy and along with EGS, and we've so looked forward to this day. And you know, just by God's grace, everything's parting, the skies and everything. The crew's doing great. Looking forward to come back, and our teams are ready. So this is one of those days you've dreamt about, and now it's finally here, and we're ready, and just thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah, and you play a really integral role. When was the last time you spoke to the crew, and how are they feeling in this last hour before splashdown?
Sure. Yeah, so the crew woke up, when they splashed down, they will have woken up about 8.5 hours ago. Me and my fellow crew surgeons, Doctors Chris Hansen, Rafi Kumjian from the Canadian Space Agency, spoke with them about 6.5 hours ago, just to double check on how they were doing, if there's any medical issues, you know, how they slept, and then kind of go over their landing day protocol for their medications, for what we call a fluid load, to try to replace some of the fluid and electrolytes that they've lost with just a normal space adaptation. Once they got to space, they kind of have to replace some of that fluid to help them with the whole landing kind of readaptation to 1G, which they haven't done for the last 10 days. And then just kind of let them know how things are going to play out, you know, out with the open water teams all the way until we finally get to the med deck. So they were very pumped up, very hurried though. They had a lot of cabin configuration, a lot of things to get ready. So they're excited, but also very focused on the job that they had to do. So like again, we've trained a long time for this, and we're ready. And
you said some medications. I mean, those are kind of just to mitigate the effects of, obviously, their more than 695,000-mile journey back to Earth. It's just like anti-nausea medication, right?
Yeah, exactly, Megan. The you know, astronauts are very healthy, fortunately, and even when they come back in reentry, you know, the human system is very kind of dynamic. It has to readapt very quickly, and one of the most common responses they get is just some stomach awareness, to some nausea, even to some vomiting. And you know, with our crews that land out in Karagana, the Soyuz crews or our SpaceX crews, you know, they all kind of experience the same thing. This will be the first time we're landing in water since December 1972, and I worked with all the Apollo astronauts years ago, and they all told me that, you know, landing in the water, especially in the Pacific, can be very provocative. So we take steps to give them medicines to really mitigate some of that nausea, vomiting, help them feel a little bit better, and also sometimes just use a little anti-inflammatory medicine just to help with coming back to 1 Earth, or 1G. The effects of microgravity, especially as you age and you have a little arthritis, you feel great in microgravity, and everyone kind of curses coming back to the ground like, oh, dang, 1G, but so that helps a little bit. But for the most part, the main thing is just replacing that fluid and then trying to help them with that transition back to 1G, and then we're ready to go.
Yeah, and their health is assessed almost immediately after they splash down.
Yeah, so we have Dr. Jesse Wang, and we have our independent duty corpsmen, who are the Navy version of paramedics, extremely highly trained, highly experienced Navy medics and divers, who will go out there, open the capsule about 25, 28 minutes after splashdown, and do the first initial assessment. So Jesse and his team will go out there and look at each crew, kind of do their assessments, get vital signs, report back to Drs. Haas and Kumji and I back in the med bay, let them know how they're doing, and then you know, if they've got the normal kind of space adaptation kind of things, we expect that. They're good to go on that. If anything, you know, didn't go the way we want, they're all prepared for that as well. And Jesse and his team, I mean, you know, this is their full-time job, taking care of, you know, sailors and folks who might be injured. We don't expect any injuries, but coming back, you know, going 25,000 miles an hour down to, you know, 20, you know, miles an hour is still a dynamic process. I've heard it described as, you know, kind of like a car crash. And then the crew will be ready to go, and Jesse and his team will make that transition to get them out to the front porch, do assessments on them again, call it to our med bay, and then once we have that and they're all good to go and the crew's feeling okay, we'll hoist them up in the helos, It's about a 3-minute flight back to the flight deck, and that's where me and the astronaut chief, Scott Tingle, will actually meet them. I'll get eyes on them, make sure they're all good, just take very slow transitions. Sure. And then one by one, we'll either get them out with the SMTs, the SAR med techs, under each arm to kind of just walk them very slowly to med bay, which actually helps them acclimate back to 1G. Or if they really don't have their sea legs back yet, then we might put them in what we call a stair chair, which will be right behind them, and then just very slowly kind of get them back into med bay to start our full assessments for the team.
Yeah, so a really great team here to support them as soon as they get back, and also all throughout the mission, of course. You talked a little bit about this, but obviously, we have seen astronauts return from the International Space Station for over 25 years, so we kind of know that that journey, how it affects the body. But yes, we're talking about humans returning from the moon for the first time since 1972. How is this different from your perspective?
So it's different in one very significant respect. On Apollo, for exercise, they had something called the Apollo Exergenia, which was basically just a little canister with some ropes, and they would have some resistance and kind of do that. And the Apollo astronauts really liked that. They liked the ability to exercise, because you decondition from a musculoskeletal standpoint, you lose your strength and your stamina very quickly. We had something called the Orion flywheel, which was able to impart much greater loads in terms of resistance, so they're able to do squats, deadlifts, different things, not dissimilar to what the ISS astronauts do, but with a lot less room to do it. Mm-hmm. And they also did rowing activities for cardiovascular health, and the crews loved it. But for the lunar crews, the future lunar crews, maintaining that physical conditioning, which our astronaut strength conditioning rehabilitation specialists, affectionately known as the ACERs, back in Houston, really work hard to get them in the best shape they're going to have to be in to get to the moon. That device hopefully will maintain that. And Apollo only had about a 4.3-day journey to the moon. Our astronauts are going to have about a 10 to 14-day journey. Right. So maintaining that physical fitness, that strength and stamina is going to be crucial for the success of being able to do those very physically demanding lunar EVAs. Right. So we're very excited about what the astronauts have said about the device and what they have to say about the role exercise plays, going to the moon. And also the mental benefit.
Sure.
They just really like sweating, breaking the sweat, and actually just feeling like they're just getting a workout.
Right.
So
thank you so much, Rick. I really appreciate it. I know they're going to be in good hands, so we'll let you get back to it. Thank you so much.
Megan, thanks for the time.
Back to you, Rob.
Okay, Megan, back here in Mission Control in Houston. Everything is moving along in order. This view of Reid Wiseman on the left, Victor Glover on the right. We have good suit leak checks. Everything aboard integrity is in excellent shape. The vehicle, with the Earth growing larger and larger in the field of view, we're now just about 8,200 nautical miles away from Earth and closing in for a splashdown just 1 hour and 5 minutes from now.
Integrity, just under a minute till your GPS maneuver initiates, and both GPS units look eager to acquire.
Outstanding. Seats 3 and 4 are working on seat strap in now.
Houston copies.
Once again, as we start to close in on some of the major milestones, the first one coming up in just 31 minutes.
And Integrity, just confirming the LCG gas trap was able to be closed out.
Affirmative.
Copy.
Crew module, service module separation scheduled just 31 minutes from now. The key point of interest, of course, will be the performance of Integrity's heat shield during its high-speed entry back into Earth and the peak heating that is expected around the spacecraft of some 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. On Artemis I, as I think most folks know by now, we flew a trajectory known as a skip entry, in which we performed an initial dip into the atmosphere to bleed off some energy. Then we skipped out of the atmosphere and dipped back into the atmosphere before splashing down in the Pacific. But after the mission was over with, we noticed unexpected liberation of some of the charring effects on the heat shield known as AVCOAT. Before the flight, we had an opportunity to sit down and talk with Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling to get a perspective on what this all means and how the mission was redesigned to try to protect Integrity's heat shield to a higher extent. Let's take a look at that interview.
Returning from the moon is a lot different than deorbiting from low Earth orbit. When we return from the moon, we expect to achieve velocities upwards of 36,000 feet per second. And in order to slow down to a nice, graceful splashdown in the Pacific Ocean, the flight crew is going to experience between 3 and 4 times the force of Earth's gravity. On Artemis I, pressure buildup inside the char layer of the heat shield resulted in the char losses we saw. NASA established a Tiger team whose job was to investigate the cause of the problem and then make recommendations on how to fly the Artemis II mission safely and successfully. And so for Artemis II, we are going to fly a profile that ensures the spacecraft will not see that same type of pressure profile. And so the char losses seen on Artemis II will not be like the ones that we saw on Artemis I.
Rick Henfling indicated that the orientation of the spacecraft and the shortening of the distance of transit to the splashdown zone from the point of entry interface when we reach the top of the Earth's atmosphere, which will be coming up at 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, should do the trick in minimizing the deleterious forces against that heat shield that were noticed on the Artemis I mission.
And we think we see a beautiful sunrise over the west coast of Australia.
We copy.
Commander Reid Wiseman reveling in his final hour in space on this mission as Integrity is passing over the southwest coast of Australia now at an altitude of some 7,600 nautical miles. That will begin the southwest and northeasterly transit across the Pacific Ocean. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the highlights and some of the numbers associated with the points of interest here. We are 27 and a half minutes away from crew module, service module separation. That will be followed about 3.5 minutes later by the raise burn that we've discussed, a 19-second burn of Integrity's thrusters to fine-tune its angle of attack as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface is scheduled 47 and a half minutes from now. That's the point at which we will reach the top of the Earth's atmosphere, traveling about 34,882 feet per second at an altitude of 400,000 feet. Just 24 seconds after entry interface, we will begin a blackout period of 6 minutes in duration at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. Now, right about 10 seconds after the blackout period begins, we are expected to reach peak speed, which would be 24,661 miles an hour. That'll be about 103 miles an hour short of the velocity record set by the Apollo 10 astronauts, Tom Stafford, Gene Cernan, and John Young, when they returned from the moon on the Apollo 10 mission in 1969. That blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes in duration. At 6:54 and 52 seconds p.m. Central Time, we'll reach our peak heating period of about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees while we're in a communications blackout from Integrity and its astronauts. That blackout should end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time, at which point we expect to regain communications with the crew. Capcom Jackie Mahaffey here in the flight control room will be talking to the crew, calling them, and will await a response from the crew as they come out of that blackout period. And at that point, their altitude will be just 157,000 feet above the Earth, traveling at 13,000 feet per second with a range to splashdown of just 147 nautical miles. From that point on, the next key series of events will be the deployment of a series of parachutes that we discussed before. First, the forward bay cover chute deploy that will pull the forward bay cover away from the top of Integrity, followed by drogue chute deploy, and then the main chute deploy that's expected at 7:04 and 44 seconds p.m. Central Time. That will begin the gentle descent of Integrity towards its splashdown at just a velocity of just 19 miles an hour and that will begin the recovery operations that you just heard Megan Cruz discuss with her folks on the USS John Murtha. All of Integrity's systems in great shape. The crew is suited up. Leak checks complete as we stand by for the next major milestone, which will be the crew module service module separation just 24.5 minutes from now. All of the activities from the start of entry interface to the point of splashdown will be quite rapid fire, just 13.5 minutes from the point at which we begin descent into the Earth's atmosphere till splashdown. And just to show you, as Rick Shearing, the flight surgeon, alluded to in his interview with Megan Cruz, all of this happens to decelerate the vehicle from traveling around Mach 33 to just 19 miles an hour at splashdown. All of that happening in just 13.5 minutes. But the vehicle and the parachutes are all designed to support all of that, so we'll be standing by to report all that to you in sequential fashion as these milestones are ticked off and as we hear from the crew during its entry back into the Earth's atmosphere and ultimately when they emerge from the blackout period, and at that point we'll be just minutes away from splashdown. So with all of those preparations ongoing, we can return here briefly for another report from the USS John P. Murtha and Megan Cruz. Megan? And we'll regain that communication with the USS John P. Murtha just momentarily. In the meantime, everything is on track aboard Integrity, the flight control team here in Houston, led by Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling. The voice you will hear talking to the crew is that of Jackie Mahaffey. She will be reporting everything to the crew and receiving their reports as they enter the Earth's atmosphere for their 13.5-minute plunge back into the atmosphere for splashdown off the coast of San Diego. Now we have the ship back with us and Megan Cruz aboard the USS John P. Murtha. Megan?
11 balloon, right? Hey, Rob, yeah, the excitement is really building here on the ship. I'm watching right now one of the weather balloons being lofted up from the ship. Again, weather balloons, very important for us to make sure that we are tracking the right kind of weather and also the data that's needed for what's called our Sasquatch team. Again, it's a team out of NASA that basically makes sure that the debris that comes off of Orion, again, some of those pieces of the parachute system, make sure that they don't fall on us here in the sea, and also our aerial assets, our folks in helicopters. So watching that float away right now. But with me right now is Captain Eric Kenny. He's the commanding officer of the John P. Murtha naval ship. Thank you so much for being here. There are so many moving parts that you have to keep an eye on.
That's absolutely right, yeah. But first of all, on behalf of the crew of USS John P. Murtha, Megan, thanks for having me on today. Happy to tell you what we're doing and excited to get the interview started.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't we actually take a look at the flight deck here? We'll start there. Basically, we also, while watching this weather balloon float away, we noticed all 4 helicopters leave the flight deck. We now have an empty flight deck. We had 2 imagery helos as well as the 2 crew helicopters that will go recover the crew. This is just one of the many things that, again, our ship of 550 people, it's something that you oversee as commanding officer.
Yeah, absolutely. Every commanding officer, I would say really every naval service member, our priority is always safety. And as the commanding officer, I take that as one of my primary roles here on board. Mission accomplishment is important, safety always. So my day really has, I would say my message to the crew has sort of changed over the past 24 hours. As we're leading up to today, we've been building up the excitement and motivating the team for the training that we've executed. But really over the past 24 hours, now I'm trying to get us to slow down a little bit. Trust our training, right? Don't believe all the hype. Don't believe everything that's going on. Just let's trust what we've done to get to this point, and if we do that, we'll be successful today.
And also part of the big success is obviously the coordination between NASA and the U.S. military. How does it feel being able to support the human space program we have?
Yeah, I mean, since 1959 with Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, the history between NASA and the Navy has been in lockstep. But like any other skill, if you don't practice it regularly, that skill atrophies. So we've had a few decades off from that. But, over the past 4 or 5 years, really with this ship over the past year, we've constantly trained and working for this moment right here. Building up the hype, but to get to this point today, to be able to trust all the training we've done. We've worked with, working with NASA, the Air Force, the medical team, dive team. You want to talk about high-performance organizations coming together, working in unison? We are seeing that here on board the USS John P. Murtha, and I can't be more proud of all the work everyone's doing.
Yeah, you had some great words this morning saying just that, again, that it's really nice to see everybody working together and so excited. I mean, you just became the commanding officer of this ship back in February. How does it personally feel for you to be a part of this historic moment today?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'd say any opportunity to command any warship in the United States Navy is a tremendous honor, is a pinnacle of any naval officer's career. That being said, as my change of command was approaching, and I realized that Artemis was going to be in the window here, to say that I'm humbled and honored to be here is an understatement. What really just excites me is the opportunity to see this crew, who has been training so hard over the past year plus, come together. It is what inspires me. Listening to NASA and the ownership and pride they take, they make my crew better. I think we're making NASA better together. That synergy is something that I'm happy to see and hopefully take forward with me in my career.
Yeah, it's all about partnerships. We couldn't do it without you, and we couldn't have gotten to the moon without our international partners as well. So thank you so much, Captain. It was really great to have you here today.
Thanks, Megan.
Awesome. All right, Rob, back to you.
Thank you, Megan. Back here in Mission Control in Houston. We just had a quick view of the crew. We'll get that view back, and there they are again. Here in Mission Control, the entry team of flight controllers led by Rick Henfling and Jackie Mahaffey serving as the spacecraft communicator. We have just handed over communications links from the Deep Space Network that we communicated with the crew through from the time of the translunar injection burn back on April 2nd. We've just handed back to the Tracking and Data Relay satellite system as we prepare for the crew module service module separation that will take place just 17 minutes from now. With the Earth looming in front of Integrity as it barrels back for a splashdown of the Pacific just 50 minutes from now, we're just 5,700 nautical miles from splashdown. Just one other quick note about the comparison from the Artemis I entry profile to the Artemis II entry profile and how that is serving as an extra layer of protection for Integrity's heat shield. The Artemis I entry had an entry range of some 3,178 nautical miles, a very long downtrack, and a very longer period of exposure to heat loads than we're experiencing tonight. It also had that skip entry profile that we discussed earlier, dipping into the Earth's atmosphere, then back out, then back in. It was about 20 minutes of exposure.
Integrity, Houston, comm check on TDRS.
Jackie, we have it loud and clear on TDRS.
We have you the same.
And there's one of the weather balloons being deployed from the USS John P. Murtha. So the Artemis I entry had the vehicle.
Any update on GPS? We haven't seen it track in yet.
Reid, we are watching. We are starting to get into the window where they may start acquiring, so should be within the next 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. We're holding at step 17 and getting ready for CMRCS hot fire.
And that exchange indicating that we are expecting to acquire data from the GPS system on board. That'll be a navigational tool that will basically tell Integrity's computers that they're on track down the center line of the corridor for the entry interface that will lead them to their splashdown point. Once again, the Artemis I entry exposed the heat shield for about 20 minutes of peak heating. For Artemis II, we're going to reach a downtrack distance of 1,701 nautical miles from the point of entry interface with just 14 minutes of duration. And it's basically a different angle of attack, a little bit steeper angle of attack that will protect the heat shield from excessive heat loads. So that is the difference between Artemis I and Artemis II, all designed into this mission to gather data, to protect the heat shield, since the Artemis III mission and beyond will have a different designed heat shield that will allow that skip entry type of profile to be resumed for all of the future missions coming back from the south pole of the moon when we initiate lunar landings. So we've handed over to the tracking and data relay satellite system. That's where we'll have communications for the rest of the flight. Just to give you some time hacks here, we're 13.5 minutes away from crew module, service module separation, and just 17 minutes away from the raise burn, that 19-second firing of the thrusters that will basically be the final fine-tuning of the angle of attack for Integrity as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. And once again, a dueling box view of some of the assets that are involved in recovery operations today. The
Integrity, cabin configured, all crew suited and seated.
Houston, copies.
That confirmation from Reid Wiseman aboard Integrity, as you see the assets being deployed to the splashdown zone. At the time of splashdown, we expect the John P. Murtha to be about 5 miles away from Integrity, keeping a safe distance until we are sure that the vehicle is in the water and upright, and that it is in a good configuration system-wide for the recovery teams to begin to approach the vehicle to erect that inflatable raft.
2 minutes to CM RCS warm-up hot fire.
We're ready.
That call from spacecraft communicator Jackie Mahaffey indicating that we're 2 minutes away from a quick burst of the reaction control system. Thrusters, that will be a hot fire test prior to the separation of the crew module from the service module. The European service module has performed flawlessly throughout this flight. Everything, all the burns that had been prescribed for that service module have been executed on time and without a problem. There is the European flight control room that has overseen the manufacturing, the design of the European service module. They deserve quite a bit of credit on this mission for not only propelling the Integrity and its astronauts toward the moon, but also conducting the fine-tuning of its trajectory to bring it to this point where we are dead spot on down the middle of the corridor trajectory-wise to bring Integrity down for its splashdown in the Pacific just 44 minutes from now. What you're looking at is a computer-generated visualization based on real-time telemetry from Integrity, currently traveling about 16,000 miles an hour. Integrity traveling about 16,000 miles an hour.
For the prop cautions, we're taking a look.
Copy that.
Now just about 5,100 miles from Earth. Splashdown scheduled 43 minutes from now. We're just 9.5 minutes away from the crew module service module separation. We are confirming.
Integrity, we are assessing details, but so far looks like a good hot fire.
Looks good on board, Jackie. Thank you.
And Jackie Mahaffey took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say that we had a good hot fire test of the thrusters in advance of the crew module service module separation that's coming up just 8.5 minutes from now. This will begin the period in which we will have rapid-fire succession of critical activities on board that will lead to entry interface just 28 minutes from now, where the vehicle will enter the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet. The time of entry interface, 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time. Integrity's astronauts were awakened at mid-morning to begin their entry preparations. And propulsion officer now reports a good hot fire test in preparation for the crew module service module separation. We're now inside 41 minutes until splashdown. some 1,701 nautical miles to the splashdown site. Integrity systems in excellent shape. We are currently 3,300 nautical miles left in this mission. Splashdown scheduled 36 minutes, 39 seconds from now.
Integrity Houston, for the 2 enabled prop cautions, what happened is while the thrusters were firing, multiple pressure sensors on each of the strings diverged a bit from each other. Those limits look to be set pretty tight. We think it could happen again when the thrusters fire in the future, so we are going to suppress those messages.
We concur with suppress, not inhibit. Thank you.
That exchange between Jackie Mahaffey, our Capcom for tonight, and Reid Wiseman aboard Integrity, indicating basically to ignore sensor data. All of Integrity systems are in good shape. Now, coming up on about 90 seconds till the crew module, service module separation. All quiet here in Mission Control as we enter the most critical phase of the completion of this flight. All of the preparatory activities leading up to the vehicle entering the Earth's atmosphere just 21 minutes from now. Coming up on 1 minute. Mark 1 minute till crew module, service module separation. And we have confirmation of crew module, service module separation. And a great view, albeit momentarily.
Houston, good stuff on board.
Houston copies and concurs.
The European service module now separated from Integrity, a job well done.
Integrity, no action for the 4 CDH cautions. Those are SM related, not applicable.
Integrity.
So, with Integrity now flying free on its own for the remaining 32 minutes of this mission. Next up, the raise burn, a 19-second firing of Integrity's thrusters.
GPS 2.
Integrity copies, good GPS 2.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark until the raise burn. Again, this is the final tweaking of the orientation of Integrity. to put it in the right angle, if you will, the angle of attack that it will fly in during its entrance into the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface now just 18 minutes, 25 seconds away. This is a visualization, but driven by real-time telemetry. This is the maneuvering of integrity to the raised burn orientation. Just 2,800 miles from Earth.
Houston, we got a great view of the European service module out the window with the sun hitting the side and the solar rays and the NASA worm right there. It's a beautiful looking machine.
Roger.
And we have completed the maneuver to the raised burn orientation, 1 minute away from the raised burn. And the crew module raise burn is underway, a 19-second firing of the thrusters, and we have a completion of the burn.
Integrity, good. CM raise burn. Your flight path angle is within limits.
Integrity copies. Looks good on board, Jackie.
So the final maneuver is now complete. Our trajectory for a splashdown in the Pacific 29 minutes from now is set and will not be amended any further. And we have the right angle of attack to mitigate any excessive heat loads on the vehicle during entry interface.
Integrity Houston, a heads up about comm coverage. When you perform the 180 roll, for the first minute or so in that attitude, we expect about a minute LOS.
We copy.
So for those who are watching the series of events coming up, we will enter the first traces of Earth's atmosphere 14 minutes, 45 seconds from now. 6:53 and 30 seconds is what is pegged for entry interface at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling at approximately 34,800 feet per second, range to touchdown or splashdown 1,701 nautical miles. 24 seconds after entry interface, we will enter a 6-minute blackout period in which we will lose communications with the crew. This is expected due to the buildup of plasma around the vehicle. That's an ionization effect due to the collision, if you will, of the velocity of the spacecraft with the friction of the Earth's atmosphere. That 6-minute blackout is expected to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. During that period of time, we will reach our peak speed of 24,661 miles per hour. That comes just short, based on unofficial data from the flight dynamics officer right now, will come just short of the velocity record set by Apollo 10 of 24,791 miles per hour in 1969. We expect peak heating on the vehicle at 6:54 and 52 seconds p.m. Central Time, a minute and 22 seconds into entry interface. At that point, we will be just 204,000 feet above the Earth, traveling at 33,000 feet per second. The blackout period is expected to last 6 minutes. We expect that blackout period to end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time. From the end of the blackout period until splashdown, it is just 7 minutes, at which point we'll start deploying the series of parachutes to slow integrity down to an ultimate splashdown velocity of just 19 miles an hour.
We see the same, waiting for the 180 rolls.
The parachute deployment sequence, once again, will come in several segments, but in rapid fire succession.
And we have a great view of the moon out window 2. Looks a little smaller than yesterday.
Guess we'll have to go back.
Reid Wiseman and Jackie Mahaffey exchanging discussion on a view of the moon that Integrity's astronauts are seeing in the final minutes of this mission that will be completed with splashdown just 25 minutes from now. 3 forward bay cover parachutes will be used to pull the forward bay cover off the top of the vehicle. Then 2 drogue parachutes will be deployed to slow and stabilize the crew module during its descent, followed by 3 pilot parachutes that will lift and deploy the main parachutes from the forward bay. The final sequence will have 3 main parachutes deployed. These will be 116 feet in diameter, each main parachute approximately 265 feet long when reefed. The parachutes will ultimately slow Integrity down from its peak speed of almost 33 times the speed of sound to a gentle 19 miles an hour at splashdown. The vehicle is now currently in a roll to the proper attitude for entry interface. Our trajectory is right on according to flight dynamics. Integrity is on a trajectory from southwest and northeast across the Pacific Ocean, descending at a rate of 15,000 feet per second. Range to touchdown 4,300 nautical miles, all the systems in excellent shape.
Integrity, Orion in the EI roll 180 attitude.
Looks good on board, Jackie.
This view out of one of Integrity's windows. We had a call for 3 good baros. Those are barometric pressure sensors that feed altitude and rate of descent information to Integrity's computers that will trigger the parachute deployment sequence. We are less than 9 minutes away from entry interface, 22 minutes from splashdown. You can see the reflection of one of the crew members in the window. Out in the Pacific, the weather conditions remain go. Just a few clouds, some scattered clouds, winds at 10 knots, wave heights just about 4 feet. A gentle day in the Pacific for the homecoming of Integrity's astronauts.
Integrity back in EI attitude.
We see the same on board, Jackie. Houston, purge is complete. Crew and vehicle are configured for entry.
Houston copies.
And we're in step 37, transferring nav state to BFS. And Houston, in instruction 509, we are not below 0.2.
Integrity, no action required.
Integrity.
Now 6 minutes away from entry interface. We will hit the first traces of Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling about 34,882 feet per second. Range to splashdown at that point will be 1,701 nautical miles. And once again, just a reminder, some 24 seconds after entry interface, we do expect to lose communications with the vehicle and the crew during a 6-minute blackout period when a plasma shield will build up around the spacecraft due to the ionization, due to heating effects. And Flight Dynamics has just confirmed we will have a blackout period of exactly 6 minutes in duration. And once again, that's due to the fact that a plasma buildup around the vehicle will prevent communications and data, so we will not be able to talk to the crew members at that time, nor will we receive data here in the flight control room.
Houston, everything is looking good on board. Just confirm no pre-EI downloads.
Houston concurs.
That blackout period to begin at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time, and again will last about 6 minutes in duration. We're 4 minutes away from entry interface. This view from Integrity as it crosses from southwest to northeast across the Pacific Ocean, 3 minutes from entry interface. "16.5 minutes till splashdown." The USS John P. Murtha and the recovery team is on station and in position, as are the airborne imagery assets that we hope to receive imagery from as Artemis enters the Earth's atmosphere and through parachute deployment. All of Integrity's systems are in great shape. The crew is ready to complete its mission just 15.5 minutes from now. All of the activities today have gone off in perfect fashion. No issues with the vehicle, no issues with the crew. And the weather at the splashdown site is go. Coming up on 1 minute until entry interface. Mark 1 minute until entry interface. 1 minute, 20 seconds until the expected start of our 6-minute blackout.
Integrity, 1 minute to a 6-minute blackout.
Integrity.
Ten seconds till entry interface. And we have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere. We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second. Time to splash down, 13 minutes, 10 seconds. And as predicted, we've entered our communications blackout. This will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew. We're 30 seconds away from the anticipated point of peak heating on the vehicle, where temperatures will rise to about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the true test of our trajectory. And from the G5 aircraft in the vicinity of the splashdown zone, this view of Integrity. So that pinpoint of light shows the vehicle as it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity being felt by Integrity's astronauts since their launch back on April 1st. 4.5 minutes until the end of the blackout period. Time to splashdown, 11 minutes, 33 seconds. The landing and support officer reports that the P-3 has acquisition on integrity. Three and a half minutes left in this blackout period. This is a visualization of the plasma buildup around the spacecraft and the repelling of that heat on Integrity's heat shield. Flight Dynamics reports that airborne assets in the vicinity of the splashdown zone do have a visual on Integrity. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period. Time to splashdown, 9 minutes, 35 seconds. Multiple airborne assets as part of the recovery team all have visuals on Integrity. And the WB-57 flying in the splashdown zone also has a visual. And the Navy helos also have visuals. We're still in the blackout period. Still do not have communications from the crew. We're standing by for communications from the crew. We should be out of the blackout period less than a minute from now. We are now processing data from Integrity. Landing and support officer reports the small boats are en route to the splashdown target zone. Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views of integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post-blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Your trajectory is nominal, and your recovery teams have visual.
Guidance looks good.
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reid Wiseman. For America and a waiting world, Integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home. Passing 100,000 feet now. Range to splashdown 19 nautical miles.
Integrity, impact to the camera controller fail is no Cab 1 views of the chutes.
Integrity.
We're processing good data through the GPS system. A good view of Integrity, time to splashdown 4.5 minutes. And a view of Integrity from the WB-57. We're at 50,000 feet. The pyros are armed for forward bay covered jettison. And there go the first series of parachutes, and we're on drogues.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drogues out the window.
2 good drogue chutes. Next up.
We copy, we see them.
Next up, the deployment of pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Perfect descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Good rates on 2 drogues.
We see the same on board.
Passing through 10,000 feet, still on drogues. Main chute deploy. We're at 5,000 feet. Search and recovery beacon has been activated on Integrity. And we have 3 good main chutes. Good 3 main chutes, good reefing, good descent rate.
Good rates, and we see 3 good-looking parachutes. Integrity, cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
Integrity copies.
This is a perfect descent for Integrity. Its crew sounding hale and hearty on board. Time to splashdown 1 minute, 15 seconds. Integrity about to complete a journey spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon. Passing through 1,000 feet.
Houston Integrity, splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy splashdown, waiting on VLDR.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. From the pages of Jules Verne to a modern-day mission to the moon, a new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts back on Earth. And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1. We still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts. The unofficial splashdown time, 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time. We'll get that refined for you. That would put the end of the mission at a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes, 35 seconds. And we're configuring for very low data rate. Once again, splashdown occurring in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego at 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m.
Integrity Houston, comm check on VLDR.
Houston, we have you loud and clear on VLDR. How else?
We have you the same. We'll meet you over in post-landing.
Perfect communications established.
A journey. We are stable 1, 4 green crew members.
Houston copies all.
Reid Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members. That is not their complexion. That is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means. So stable 1, upright. The crew module uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for Integrity Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon. We continue to monitor the functioning of the CMOOS system. The airbags are being inflated to maintain a stable one or upright configuration. And there's a good view from one of the naval helicopters hovering overhead. Reid Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape.
Integrity Houston for SAR beacon and radio.
SAR beacon is in for 06, and we're powering the radio now. Go ahead.
We see the beacon on. However, the recovery team is not seeing the signal. Your SAR radio uses the same antenna, so you may run into trouble with the radio.
Okay, copy. And we are also powering up the sat phone now.
So Integrity is in great shape, and as the crew continues its post-splashdown timelined activities on board, Reid Wiseman once again reporting that all 4 crew members are in excellent shape. And we have 5 inflated airbags to maintain an upright configuration so that the recovery team can now begin a slow approach to the vehicle. Meanwhile, here in the flight control room, Entry Flight Director Rick Henfling is polling his team of flight controllers for the start of powering down the vehicle after a thorough systems check. We have no toxic gases to be concerned about, so the recovery personnel can approach the vehicle, but not until we have powered down the spacecraft. That's expected to take a few more minutes. Integrity back on Earth following its historic flyby of the moon. It was, for all intents and purposes, a textbook mission.
On 2828, but I'll remain on this frequency.
We copy.
Reid Wiseman indicating some trouble with the SARSAT phone on board. But that's not an issue. What is more important is that the vehicle is solid. No issues as we begin the power down of the vehicle to begin the recovery process. The propulsion officer here in Mission Control reports that we have safed the prop system on integrity.
Can you say again? That was very weak and broken.
Integrity, Houston did not call.
Copy that, Houston. It might have been on the SAR radio. Stand by.
All of the milestones were executed in perfect fashion. Integrity entering the Earth's atmosphere right on time, reaching its peak speed shortly after a blackout period began. We emerged from the blackout period, but the recovery imagery airborne assets were able to pick up Integrity's descent almost immediately through entry interface, tracking the vehicle all the way down. And finally, you saw the sequence of chute deployments. First, the forward bay cover being pulled off the top of the vehicle by a series of 3 parachutes. Then the drogue chutes were deployed, followed by the 3 main chutes that slowed the splashdown velocity of Integrity to just 19 miles an hour.
Integrity, Houston, with no joy on SAR and SAT phone, we'd like you to command an additional 15 minutes for a total of 30-minute power down delay.
All right, Jackie, we have selected T/D+30. No joy on SAR radio or sat phone. And stand by, we have the master diver on SAR radio. Please hold comms.
Hey, Lily. Excuse me. Hey, Jackie, we just got the master diver on SAR.
A good view of one of the fast boats.
Integrity, Houston, if you are happy with your comm with master diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, we'll confirm here in a second.
The crew on board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of the power down of the vehicle, which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft. There are no issues with Integrity. We've had a bit of broken capability in establishing a SARSAT or satellite phone communications capability between the crew on board Integrity and the recovery team. That will get sorted out here shortly. There's plenty of cooling on board Integrity, so there's no rush to begin the power down.
I'm trying to call you on the sat phone and not getting an answer there either.
Concur. We haven't had anything come through.
And Houston, if you could relay to recovery that we hear them, but it does not appear as though they are hearing us.
Houston copies, and Reid, just to confirm, you are pushing the PTT on the radio.
So as we continue to sort out the communications between Integrity and the recovery teams, we are standing by for the initiation of the power down procedures that, as you see, the recovery teams are moving towards the side of the capsule. The next major event will be the erection of that large inflatable raft called the front porch. That will be the port of call for the crew as they're being extracted one by one from the vehicle.
Integrity Houston, for sat phone, we are going to attempt to call you.
Good idea, standing by.
And Jackie, yes, we are pushing the push-to-talk, the two buttons on the left side of the radio below the up-down arrows. We are utilizing them. I'm rebooting the radio to see if we get good comms.
Okay, we copy all, and just to confirm, you are seeing that you are touchdown plus 3030 for power, correct?
That's affirmative.
We are trying a backdoor approach to have mission control here call the crew on their satellite phone. This is all part of the coordination for the power down of the vehicle that will initiate the actual recovery operation. The first boats with the Navy divers on board are standing by, waiting to close in on Integrity to begin the process of erecting the large inflatable raft that's called the front porch that will be where the